All right. Welcome to Conversations That Heal, where we talk about the real, the raw, and everything in between. I have here the one and only Dr. Onnie Poe, and she is going to give you a little brief introduction on who she is and how she defines herself. And you have the
Hey, I
floor.
think you did it. I think you did it. I
Did I?
am the one and only Dr. Onnie Latoya Payne Poe. And I was just telling Dale, I like to simply define myself by my name, not by any accolades or accomplishments and any of that sort. And some people say that I like to minimize the accomplishments that I have made, and that's not true. What's true is that I am a woman, probably one of the realest and dopest, if you allow me to say it, women that you'll ever meet. I am many things. I wear many hats. I was at church today and I saw an image on the wall with what they call Jesus, and I thought, that kind of not necessarily summarizes how I feel about myself, but it makes me think about the many things that I have done and the many things that I have been called. It's difficult for me to define myself in terms of my profession. I will tell you that the work that I do in the world centers people, and it centers them in their truth and their authenticity and wholeness, wellness, completeness, and truth. So that's a little bit about me. And as the show goes on tonight, then you'll hear more about me and my background as the questions flow and as we get into this flow. So Deb, thank you for allowing me space here tonight to have a conversation that heal, because that's what I love to do. Let's talk about it.
Yes, you are so welcome. I am glad you decided to come on here with me tonight to have this conversation. And I like how you describe how you don't like yes, you have all these accolades. You are, you have your doctor. You are, you have your degrees. You have these titles, or the work that you do, the things that you do, but they don't completely define you. Like you say, well, how you were in church and you saw, you that Jesus up on the wall. And in a sense, yes, you see yourself that way in a sense, and we're all supposed to hold ourselves at a higher esteem, right? That's how he
Right.
tells us. That's how he raised. I'm gonna say he raised us that way, but that's
I
what
know
he
what you
instilled
mean.
in us, right?
Right.
That's how we're daughters of the King, right? So that's how we're
Exactly.
supposed to see ourselves, right? So you see yourself that way, but you don't define yourself by the titles that you have. So I like that, because some people can get a title and they have their behind sitting up here somewhere, and
That's
that
so
makes
true. And
yeah.
I've never been like that. Once I saw myself in God,
Mm-hmm.
that was before the things that I have titles uh,
Mm-hmm.
from came about. You know what I'm saying? So once I knew that I was His, that He created me a masterpiece, then that was
Mm-hmm.
the highest level of attainment. And so I feel like my name is the ultimate expression of who I am, rather than what I've accomplished or what I've done, because that is just
Mhm.
what comes from the vessel of me, but it's not me. It doesn't, like, there's no title that you can give me that clearly
Mhm.
articulates who I am other than my
Right.
name. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so the other stuff, I don't minimize anything I've accomplished. This Somebody asked me the other day, like
Mhm.
it was a young person who didn't really know much about me, and she was asking me about my college degree. She was like, "So you got a doctorate?" And I was like, "Yes." She was like, "Something about college degrees," and I said, "I have
Mhm.
4 college degrees. I
Oh,
have a
wow.
bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or education specialist degree, and a doctorate
Mhm.
degree." And I value each of those because it was some hard work,
Right.
But the life degree that I have is what I think the world needs. And all of my
Mhm.
educational experience has provided me a canvas to be in a lot of places and to interact with people across a lot of different domains. So I don't devalue anything that I've
Mhm.
accomplished, but I
Right.
always say that is not the totality of my value. So I
Right.
prefer to be introduced in spaces simply by my name.
Right. And speaking of your name, please tell us the meaning of your name.
Let me tell you, my name means of the divine,
I love
of the
that.
divine. Yes, and I believe that wholeheartedly. My name was chosen for me before I was even conceived. I tell that story often. That before my look, but you know that the scripture, before he formed you, he knew you. Well, I would say
Right.
before I was formed, my name was predetermined. My mom had a choice. One of her uncles, great
Mhm.
uncle by marriage, told my mom and her sisters, whoever had the first girl, to name her Onnie after someone in
Wow.
his family. I don't know if it was his sister. I don't know that. I need to
Mhm.
talk to some of the older family members that may have known my
Mhm.
namesake, like or who I was named after.
Right.
But my mom said that he told her that she would never regret it. And I
Okay.
don't. I love that my name is unique. And I am not the
Mhm.
only person in the world named Oni. I've actually met
Okay.
another Oni and know of other Onis. But
Oh
when I
wow.
say that I
Okay.
am the one and Oni, it's really more of a statement to me
Right.
to constantly and consistently walk in the truth of who I am. And
Mhm.
nobody can be me but me. And if I was
Right.
created, then I was created with a purpose, and I need to
Mhm.
fulfill that. So my name
Right.
is very, very special to me.
Right. Okay. I watched the show with you and Kim, and I heard you tell the story. I was like, wow, so that's where her name come from. That is very unique. I was like,
Yes.
okay, now I see. But yes, now and back to that, what you were just saying, that statement you said that yes, even though other people do have that name, because a lot of names, we all share, in this world, but your name is unique to you because it was your name. So we all have our own purpose. So you have to live up to your name, but you still also, we all have our own purpose, and you go on your own path. And so, being that we all have our own purpose. So where did you think that you, I guess, kind of like found your purpose in life? Did you do you think you found your purpose? I won't say in the beginning, or like, do you think you found your purpose early in life, or do you think you started finding your purpose like maybe mid? I know we're in our around close on our age, that mid close to 50. I think I'm a little bit older than you, but I think,
I
are you
just turned
starting to find your
45.
purpose? And I know you're on your journey, right? I'm a few years older than you. I'm 48. So I know you're on your
Okay.
journey now, which is why we're having this discussion. You're on your journey now. So are you just starting to, even though you've built your career and everything, are you just starting to find your purpose in life, or did you really like find your purpose beforehand, like your general purpose in life, other than being a mother and wife
Yeah.
and all that stuff?
Every time I hear somebody ask me, like, how did I discover my purpose? When did I find my purpose? And that sort of thing. I think my purpose found me. And I don't know if
Mhm.
that makes much sense, but I
It
I
does.
literally have been I've literally been on a path of just discovering wholeness for
Hmm.
a long time. And I believe that that is the path of purpose. So I don't
Hmm.
think that I found it. I think that it was within me all along and it found me. Like I got to this realization of I just want to live my truth. And even when I say that, I think about everything I've ever lived has been my truth. You know what I'm saying? Like for
Right,
all of it.
right,
It's been the
right.
truth as I knew it at that time. But I just believe
Exactly.
that I'm growing into an awareness of the conditioning that
Hmm.
I lived within or behind or of. I feel
Hmm.
like as I discover myself, it's not that I'm walking into something out of me that I'm finding
Hmm.
myself in, but it's going into an inner standing. I was looking at some of my
Hmm.
posts the other day, and several years ago I posted, and I remember it was a girl, Kenyatta. She had posted,
Hmm.
you must first have inner standing before you can have understanding. And that
Mm,
resonated with me because I'm constantly seeking to discover more facets of myself. And as I do
mhm,
that, my purpose continuously unfold. I didn't know. I would say now that I people will say, well, how did you discover your purpose and blah 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 blah. I don't really know. Like, I know
right.
that what I do now gives me joy, but what I
Mhm.
did 5 years ago gave me joy. What I did 20 years ago gave me joy. You know what I'm saying? So
Because we're
it's
constantly evolving.
it's a constant evolution. It's a constant
Mhm,
evolution. And I'm to the
mhm.
point now, Deb, that I don't even know how to say to people what I do. Like, in
Right.
terms of profession, in terms of all of that, I'm literally like, I'm just living. And I said that, I remember saying that a couple of years ago. I was doing a workshop, and
Mhm.
in the workshop, somebody asked me what I do for a living. And I said,
Right.
live. And they thought I was trying to be funny. Like,
Right.
I've always been accused of being a smart ass, which
Right.
I am smart, but I never
Right.
intended to be a smart aleck as though I'm trying to throw out intellect or throw around intellect. That's just the way I think and the way I process. But
Right.
that's what I do for a living, and
Mhm.
in the last couple of years, I really just when I tell you, I've done so many beautiful things and wonderful things, and I really have been truly in the flow. And I thank God that along the path of my purpose, one of the things that I
Mhm.
think that I was created to do is just live my truth out loud and speak my truth out loud, because that is putting me in places and spaces and connecting with people who
Mm.
need to see somebody else living their truth, because it's encouraging. When I meet
Right.
another person who is just being their themselves, like
Mhm.
showing up on the scene because it's the scene, not because of they want anybody to think they're this, that, or the third, but they're just being themselves.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
a beautiful thing. So I really think my purpose found me, but I can say, if I was telling somebody else what to do to get to this place of self-awareness that I'm at, it would be
Mhm.
to keep walking your path, to
Right.
keep walking your path and keep shining your light. I tell my children that all the time. The path that is yours to walk, it may seem lonely, it may seem isolated, it may seem like you're by
Mhm.
yourself, but when you tap into what brings your heart joy and
Yeah.
what brings your soul rest and
Yeah.
stillness and oneness,
Mhm.
then that's where you discover it at.
Right.
Um, that's where you discover it at. Yeah. I don't
Right.
know if that answers your
Exactly.
question. I go all around the
You
world.
no, you answered it perfectly because I was having a conversation with actually one of our guests on online on Facebook here, Tashika, and I was telling her, I said I don't like to be put in a box, at least not anymore. Like I was put in a box for so long, where I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. I didn't want to step on any toes. I didn't want to, didn't want to ruffle any feathers. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this. Didn't want to stand out too much. But it's like I don't want to do that. Like even far as me working from home, and I could choose to work the 9 to 5, the W-2 employee or whatever. I don't want to do that. I choose to work the ones where I'm a 1099 employee, where I can set my own hours. Ultimately, I will be full-time entrepreneur. That's my goal. And I said I don't want to be in a box. I don't want any restraints. I don't want any constraints on my life at this point in my life. I don't want any of that. Just let me just be. Just let me just be me to however I need to be. It just like if I could just be on a beach somewhere and just live by the water and just be one, and I won't say one with nature because I'm really not with the trees and all that stuff, but the water, if I could just be one
Okay.
with the water and just be out there in the flow, that would be me. And I just be
That is awesome.
comfortable. Yes, I would be
Yeah.
just comfortable. I have to have my little internet a little bit. I don't want
Okay.
complete tranquility, but I do want my peace. So I'll be fine. I'll be just joy,
It sounds
complete
like
joy.
chosen tranquility, like to be able to
Mm-hmm.
have, it sounds like you're saying you want to be able to have the flexibility of being one with the water, and I love being in the like close to the ocean. But
Mm-hmm.
also having the ability to tap into civilization and the
Right.
internet and all of that stuff as you need to. And I, when
Mm-hmm.
thinking about the box, I've been out of a box for maybe a year and a half since March
Mm-hmm.
of last year. And let me tell you something, because I'm at a new phase of this process, and it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel like, and I shared this on my page when I talked about my new word being embrace. I literally
Mm-hmm.
feel like I am just completing a major cycle. When you think about evolution, right? And you think
Mm-hmm.
about like something evolving and it coming back to either a starting point or a place of
Mm-hmm.
where something has completed. I feel like
Right.
I have just completed whatever the last cycle of evolution was, and that I'm beginning
Mm-hmm.
a new cycle, right? It really feels like
Right.
that. And it feels good. Because let me tell you
Right.
something. The last 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, I don't even know, have been
Mm-hmm.
fast paced for me. Like I
Mm-hmm.
literally could think about all of the people who I've been saying things like, okay, I'm gonna check my calendar, I'm gonna get back to you. Yeah, that sounds like a good
Mm-hmm.
idea. We can do that. And let me tell you something, Deb, I've been from one out of town thing. I have been
I've
in
seen
constant motion.
on the
Like,
internet. I've seen.
oh
I've,
my gosh. I have been in constant motion, and it's been all good stuff. It hasn't,
mm-hmm.
people tell me all the time, like, you need to rest, you don't need to do too much. I have been. The things that I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
have been amazing, and I've been
Right.
out of the box of confinement and really, really a
Mm-hmm.
full-time entrepreneur, and I thank
Right.
God that He has sustained me in it. But let me tell you what I discovered at the completion of
Mm-hmm.
this whatever cycle. I'm ready. I'm ready to. I'm not gonna say go back into the box, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
ready for a little bit more structure. And I didn't think I would ever say this. Like I thought
Okay.
6 months ago, I thought that I would never want to work for anyone full time again. Like I've done
Okay.
that, been there, done that. I just need to be on my own. But what I'm discovering is
Mm-hmm.
I need a little bit more structure in my life, because my mind my mind runs fast. My mind is really fast
Okay.
paced. And so
Okay.
it takes me, like, I feel like there's a major portion of my brain right now that's not being utilized at its fullness. And in order for
Okay.
me to do the entrepreneur stuff that I want to do, I
Mm-hmm.
have to activate the space in my mind that is dormant right now,
Okay.
with me not
Right.
having full-time work. I don't know if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually looking, not looking for anything, but I'm looking forward to doing a little dance with the box and outside of
Right.
the box. But
Like,
but what I
put it, get in the
recognize
box
is
to
that
open it, keep the box open a little bit, but sit back in there a little bit, but keep the doors open. Right.
absolutely, I
Right.
really feel like I'll be able to do that, because
Mm-hmm.
this time I understand the box. When I was in the box before, that's that conditioning I talk about, that we don't
Mm-hmm.
even realize. Like, it was my truth. You know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
my truth to do things this way, that way, or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then I it broke me. Like, I talk a lot about my
Mm-hmm.
experience in the school system for 16 years,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the thing. There was no reason why I should have stayed in one building all those
Right.
years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that in and of itself is not good. A lot of people are talking about young
Right.
people now and how they don't have no stability. They're from one thing to the next. I actually
Right.
encourage that, because we learn with each
Right.
new thing, right?
Exactly.
So
Right.
all of that to say, I don't know if I enjoy doing the things that I do
Mm-hmm.
outside of the box, but from an entrepreneurial spirit, I'm not disciplined enough. Like, I do a
Oh.
lot of things that could bring me finances, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
disciplined enough to
Okay.
do it. I would need
Right.
assistance. And
Right.
and
And
and I
maybe
and
that's
that's
something. Right.
yeah.
That's probably something to think about is getting a business coach maybe, or someone to gear you in the right direction, or things like that. So don't necessarily, of course, think it over, but don't necessarily, which I know you will, but don't necessarily get back all the way in the box. But just think
Yeah,
it
I
over.
won't. I definitely
Yeah,
need a coach. And speaking of coaches,
yeah,
I told somebody it's so many coaches and stuff out here right now. I need a type of coach. Let me talk coaches and talent right now.
right,
I need a type of coach who could recognize, like if imagine you being a coach of a team and you have a rookie player who's never played, and you
hmm,
have an all-star player who's been playing for a long time, but they didn't know that they was an all-star, right?
right,
In this
hmm,
situation, I'm going to call myself an all-star. So
right,
I need somebody who can coach me in the sense of making sure that when the scouts come after me, that they're not trying to minimize my value and my worth, or that I'm going into
right,
situations that don't serve my best interest, rather
right,
than coaching me to get in the game. You know what I'm saying? And
right,
a lot of
exactly.
people that I talk to, because people, let me tell you something. My mama told me years ago, she was like, girl, people gonna be coming after you, want you to do this, that, and the third. They're gonna be trying to
Exactly.
attach themselves to you,
Yes,
and all of that is true. All
yes,
of that
it
is so
is.
true, But I
Hmm.
definitely can use a coach, can use some kind of
Right,
partner, or some type of person who has the business sense that I don't have,
right,
and not
hmm,
even that I don't have, but I don't care to have. Like
right,
I don't want a coach that's gonna say, well, I need you to make a schedule of everything you're gonna do. That's hard for me. So we
mhm,
wasting time.
to the
You know what I'm saying?
choir.
So like I so it
Yeah,
may not actually be a coach that I need.
right. Or
It
maybe
is
an
some I need
assistant
some
or some type of,
yeah,
right, some type of
yeah,
assistant. Because even I've noticed, like with myself, as I'm growing and doing more things and branching out, and I'm like, wow, I'm doing a lot. Like, okay, I got to start learning how to balance all this stuff out. Eventually, I'm gonna have to, like, okay, I'm gonna need somebody to help with this, somebody to help with that,
right,
somebody to do with that, because I'm doing like this right here. This is the fun stuff, like, or like when I used to do hair, that was my fun stuff. But the business side of it, like when I had my salon, that was not the fun stuff. Owning it and running the paperwork
yeah. I
and
don't
all
want to
that
do
stuff,
that stuff.
that was not that wasn't the fun stuff.
Yeah,
I need somebody else to do that part. Like get somebody else to
exactly.
do it, as they say.
I
Mm-mm.
do. I want to
Right.
show
So you
up.
gotta find
What I
somebody else
love
to
doing the
do
most,
it. Hmm.
I love developing. My mind is constantly in motion. I have courses, workbooks, books. I can walk into a space, or sit down and have a conversation with somebody and have all kind of ideas for that person, and I love doing that. But
Hmm.
it's almost like, imagine going to a spring where they capture the water in containers at. I feel like I'm a
Hmm.
spring or a waterfall, like I'm just constantly in flow, literally. And
Right.
if I take the time to bottle, package, distribute, market the flow, then that takes me away from being in the flow. And when I tell you I love being in the flow, I love being in the flow. Like that's just,
Right.
it comes naturally to me. And I thank God for the gift of whatever it is. When I am in the flow, goodness comes out
Mhm.
of me. But he's no respecter of persons. That's the
No,
same
he's
thing for if
not.
you were in the, when all of us
Exactly.
are at our most authentic, creative self, then whatever
Hmm.
comes from us in that space is what the world needs. That's where purpose
Exactly.
is. So
Exactly.
maybe,
Right.
so now I got a new answer to the question for finding my purpose, and the path to purpose is when I became aware of what flowed from me and
Hmm.
wanted that to flow more often. That's what a
Okay.
purpose is. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's your answer to
Look,
your to
I'm
the
trying to pause. My mama watched that interview that I did with Kim Beasley on Thick Thighs. Thick
Yeah, I
Thighs
watched
Matter
it long
podcast.
last night.
My mama called me earlier today. She said, I know you're going live with somebody tonight. She said, let that woman talk. She said, because you didn't let the other lady say nothing. So I'm going to be mindful to practice pausing, and my wine kicking in too. So girl, you have to slow me
I
down.
started to get me some, but I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. But I might use my other little thing, but I said, no, I ain't gonna use my wine, but I might use my other little thing, but we ain't gonna talk about that though. I have migraines, so it's legit.
Okay.
But anyway, but I've been doing, like I said, a lot of reading and things about different things about like energy and the people that you surround yourself with, and just about like I said, the people that you surround yourself with. And this is, how do you feel about this statement? And then I would say the book that I got this from is Energy Rising: The Neuroscience of Leading with Emotional Power by Julia DeGangi. And this is a caption in her book. It says, a large scientific literature states that people neurologically and physiologically synchronize their internal emotional state with the people around them.
I agree. If I think you said people synchronize their internal emotional state with the people around them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
there Let me tell you this, Deb. I think that everything is layered, right? I think that
Mm-hmm.
everything is on a continuum. So
Mm-hmm.
when you first started reading about the book, I thought first of all, I think that everything is energy. Everything
Right.
has frequency. Everything has a
Yes.
frequency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people who you hear it. Like when I come into a room, people say, "Oh, it's your energy." It's your
Right.
energy. You got good energy. You got good energy. And there's
Exactly.
some people who will walk in the room who they don't have good energy, but they have
No.
energy. So even whatever that energy is, as stagnant or stale or negative as
Mm-hmm.
it is, it's vibrating
Right.
as well, right? So when I think
Mm-hmm.
about the statement of synchronizing energy, I don't hear that in the sense of my energy begins to match your energy. I hear
Mm-hmm.
synchronization in that statement as our energies are sharing space at the same time. So
Okay.
that's how I interpret that statement. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get that book and read it and all of that stuff. But um,
Mm-hmm.
I I remember a few years ago, maybe time escapes me. Like time is so abstract. I'm saying a few years
Mm-hmm.
ago, it could have been 10. I don't know. But
Right.
I started reading some of my own journals and reading things
Mm-hmm.
that I have written before and all of this stuff. And I was
Mm-hmm.
looking for themes in my own writing, right?
Right.
Because I
Okay.
I a lot of my writing, a lot of my when I do personal audio and all of that stuff, is not what I'm
Mm-hmm.
consciously thinking about. You're a writer, so it's coming
Right.
from a
Exactly. Yeah.
different
You speak from
layer,
your heart. Right.
Exactly. And so I kept coming across the word energy, and I'm like, well, what is this about? And
Mm-hmm.
started looking up other stuff, and I really got a deeper understanding and appreciation for energy. But I think that we do synchronize energy. But one thing I'll say is I'll tell anybody that I'm responsible for the energy that I bring into the room, and I'm responsible for my energy once I'm in the room. So I'm not gonna too much allow another person's energy to dictate mine, but at the same time
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that another person's energy don't influence mine, because you could walk in some and it throw you off because there's some
Right.
strong energy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to be mindful of what's external. I'm
Right.
always mindful of what's external to me, because
Mm-hmm.
internally I know the flow of energy that moves within me, and I know that it can
Right.
be influenced by the energy that's outside of me. But what
Mm-hmm.
I'm consciously aware of is that I have to be aware and
Right.
acknowledge the energy that is within myself and how it's
Mm-hmm.
influenced by outside energies. Yeah.
Right. You have to
Because there's
pay
some
attention
people,
to,
I mean,
yeah.
talking about energy, it's some people that I want a lot of touch.
Right. And I had to learn that. You have
Absolutely.
to pay attention to your energy because I used to not be around people as much. I won't say that I was closed off, but I was a little bit closed off, like raising my family, my children and stuff. I associated with people, but like during my marriage, I didn't hang around with a lot of people. My family and my children, people who know me, they know, oh yeah, Deborah, they didn't see me getting out now. They're like, what, never outside. So I can say that, with all honesty. But now it's like
Mm-hmm.
I have to learn to pay attention to, okay, that's not an energy that I want to be around. I have to learn to discern people's energy now when I go around them, when I be around them, because I'm like, okay, that's not the type of energy that I want to be
Mm-hmm.
around. Or like even from working in customer service call center, and that may be on the phone, but when someone is agitated, that's still energy. You have to pay attention to that because that still can trickle into your mind. If they're agitated, you can get agitated. So they even train you, okay, they're upset, you have to remember, you have to de-escalate them. You have to calm them down, because if you get agitated,
Right.
then that's going to diffuse the fire even more, and all that is still energy. So you have to pay attention to that. Or like, even if you go to a funeral, or if you are exposed to, you're somewhere, like if you work in a school, a fight breaks out,
Mm-hmm.
everybody around that, somebody else, that negative energy is going to trickle over to somebody else as well. Some of the other kids, they're going to get upset or whatever. So all that energy can bounce around, but that comes back to that self-awareness where those children or even the adults have to pay attention. 'Cause nowadays, the adults are getting upset too, like, hey, because there again, that energy can trickle around. So that comes back to people have to be self-aware of their
Right.
own energy. And I
You
think that's
really do.
a learned behavior, a learned skill that people have to develop. And everybody, I won't say maybe it should be taught more, because everybody is not taught to learn to control their behaviors or their emotions and their energy. Now, I would think, how
Right.
do you feel about that? Like, as far as I know, you're a parent too. How do you feel about, as far as like teaching? Because I know you talk a lot about how you teach your children things, as far as learning their emotions and how to control their energy and everything.
Well, I think that one of the things that it is the main thing of it is self-awareness. And
Mm-hmm.
like I studied emotional intelligence a lot, and actually did a
Mm-hmm.
workshop yesterday on emotional intelligence, and did one last month at a conference on emotional intelligence. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the key components of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, and after
Mm-hmm.
self-awareness is self-regulation, right? And
Right.
so even
Mm-hmm.
when you were talking about the energy and like fights and negative energy around and all of that stuff, I'm so much now, I'm not going to say I walk into any energies willingly, but what I'm going to
Right.
say is I may not let everybody touch me, but
Mm-hmm.
once I recognize how energies were influencing my energy, then I used to people. I have a lot of practices, girl. Some of them may sound crazy, but at one point, I literally imagined myself putting myself in a bubble. Like
Right.
if I got to go into this space, then I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna wrap myself in a fictitious energy bubble.
Right.
That this energy, I don't care what it is, it can't get
Mm-hmm.
me. But think about a firefighter that walks into a fire. They put on
Mm-hmm.
their garments, they put on their
Right.
suit so that the fire
Mm-hmm.
doesn't burn them, but they don't stay out of the fire, right? And so that's kind
Right.
of how I operate now. I can go into spaces, but I'm aware. It's like
Mm-hmm.
energy is invisible, but I can see it. My spirit of
Right.
discernment is high, and I have practices. And
Mm-hmm.
if you close to me in a conference or whatever, I see Deidre. I don't know if she's still watching, but I'm
Yeah.
reminded of
Right. Already
a
there.
conference that I was at with Deidre several months back, and there was some strong energy around us. It was negative energy. It was somebody sitting at the table with
Mm-hmm.
us, and they were very negative. But
Okay.
because I'm so compassionate, I know that their negativity don't have nothing to do with me. Well, it doesn't have
Right.
anything to do with me. It only
Mm-hmm.
has to do with whatever they're going through, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm emotionally intelligent enough to not take things personally like that, right? But what I
Right.
I remember telling Deidre, I sent her a text and I said, when this session is over, I need you to go to the bathroom, wash your hands. But while you're washing
Mm-hmm.
your hands, visually imagine the energy that you was just around being washed off
Mm-hmm.
you, because we
Right.
can internalize that. And I do that kind of stuff. It's
Right.
like in my mind, everything is so visual to me. So if I'm around
Right.
something negative, somebody negative, even if I'm speaking to them and I need to and I feel the need to create a safe space for them, then I can
Mm-hmm.
listen to them. But you better believe I got on my firefighter suit. I need to come up with a phrase for that and
You
market that on
right.
how to shield energy. But excuse me, I talk to my children about that too. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to be aware of your own feelings and emotions and how they're influenced by others, but also what your energy is. And that's part of the reason why I created my character Fabian and wrote the book
Mm-hmm.
Fabian Finds His Colors, because it's all about recognizing your own emotions
Mm-hmm.
from a self place,
Right.
from inward. And a lot of people, we weren't taught to articulate how we feel.
Right. Nobody asked
That's
children.
still,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. That's
But
just not something that we were taught. Right.
yeah.
They'll say, well,
But I
tell
think that
me
it's
how
something
you
that can be
feel.
taught. Yeah,
Yes, it
it
is.
can
Like
be
nobody
taught.
said, well, how do you feel about this? And how do you feel? Like just now, more people are starting to now, but our generation, nobody was really saying, well, tell me how you feel about this or tell me how you feel about that. It was like, look, this what we doing. Come on here, let's go. Or they just didn't talk about, okay, it's time to
Exactly.
go do this, time to go do this, or this
Yeah.
happened, but we're not gonna talk about it, and that was that, so yeah, it
And
was no discussion.
that's why our generation backwards have
Mm-hmm.
so much unprocessed trauma, because they don't
Right.
know that it's all the stuff that they didn't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say something about that, and I had another thought that came into my. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I remember
Mm-hmm.
I used to cry a lot when I was younger, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I don't ever remember getting a spanking. I'm pretty sure I have, but I
I got a
don't
few.
remember. It was it
You
wasn't
got
that. But I remember people used to say, you keep up, you hush all that crying before I give you something to cry about. That never made sense
Mm-hmm.
to me. Because if I'm already crying, then how are you going to give me something to cry about? Like
Right.
that never really made sense. But that's an example of how the space wasn't created for us to really feel, and we didn't know how. And another thing
Right.
that I think our generation suffers from, and one of the reasons, it's not the reason why I speak out so much about mental health, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
part of my platform, if you will, on mental health. And that's the statement, what goes on in this house stays in this house.
Right.
People think that house is the external house that is made with walls and brick and siding. But what happened, that house is this. It's
Mm-hmm. This
us.
whole
So you think
thing.
about it. All the people who have, it's your physical being, it's your mental being, it's your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
it's your soul. All those things that may have happened to people, and they were told not to talk about this. You can't say anything about this. What goes
Right.
on here, stay here. That's the stuff that's in your mind. And I don't know about for you and
Mm-hmm.
anybody else that might be watching, but once I
Mm-hmm.
started my release journey, we could talk about that journey. Once I started
Right.
recognizing the weight of my baggage and unpacking the stuff that I had, that was in me. Once I started unpacking that stuff, my anxiety
Mm-hmm.
started getting better and my depression
Right.
started getting better. It didn't
Yes.
get better when I was taking the medicine. The
No.
medicine kind of stabilized me out, helped me cope, and it did what it did. But when I started
Right.
seeing the most of this with my mental health, it's when I started uprooting some of that stuff that I had buried in my house, right?
Right.
So you asked me about my children and how I talk to them about emotions and energy and all of that stuff. I talk to them
Mm-hmm.
like this,
Right.
like what's I want you to feel what you're feeling. I want you to
Exactly.
acknowledge what you're feeling, because I don't want it
Mm-hmm.
to take root in I feel like I need to pause because I hear my mom in my mind saying, let the woman say something. But I'm going to tell this quick story, and then I'm going to pause. It reminds me of a conversation with my son. I believe it
Mm-hmm.
was last year. He had a little situation. He was talking to this girl, and he felt some kind of way one day, because
Mm-hmm.
I know they probably hear me now and probably saying, "Mama, don't
Like
tell
mama.
that." But I talk to my children about a lot of stuff. But my son was
Mm-hmm.
disappointed in how the girl felt about something that was untrue. Basically, some of her
Okay.
friends told her that he was in the cafeteria. It might have been the gym, but let me just say the cafeteria is okay. I want to get the story kind of wrong, so it won't be.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But her girls told her that he was talking to some other girls. But what was
Okay.
really happening was that he was telling the other girls that he was talking to somebody. And so my son sent
Okay.
me a text and he was upset and all of that stuff. And I was so glad that he sent me the message because
Yeah.
I like knowing what they're going through. And so I
Right.
asked him, I said, well, where did you put those feelings? What did you do with
Right.
those emotions? Like, where are they? Did you tuck them down?
Right.
Have you processed them? Where did you put them?
Right.
Because
Mm-hmm.
anything that's unprocessed doesn't process. It's like,
Right.
imagine you eat a big piece of steak and you don't chew it, and you
Right. It
just keep it
sits
in your
there.
mouth and it starts absorbing. It just sits there. That's what happens
Right.
with the stuff that people haven't processed mentally and emotionally. It just sits. I don't
Right.
I don't want my children to have things within them that just sit. And I know that they don't
Mm-hmm.
talk about everything to me, but that's why I talk so much about how I feel in my
Mm-hmm.
house, online. When if anybody just met me and they look back at my social media, the world has seen every phase of my journey, the highs,
Right.
the lows, the in-betweens, the uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
all of
Yeah.
that. I'm never gonna be that person that come on and put on this face of I got it
Mm-hmm.
all together. Because
Right.
you can't I can't help people heal like that. You understand what
Exactly.
I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's not important for me to get on here and talk about, oh, I have a doctorate degree in instructional leadership and I've done this and that. That don't
Right.
mean a, you know what I'm saying? But
Exactly.
if
I don't
I
mean right.
get on here, yeah, like
Exactly.
I have experienced the lowest of the low when I couldn't even pull myself out of bed for
Right.
days. When I couldn't walk, because I had
Right.
so much anxiety and depression that it was overtaking my physical body to the point that I could
Mm-hmm.
hardly move. Let me tell you
Right.
about that and how I processed through that. It was
Right.
with looking at stuff that I was holding in and starting to
Right.
let that.
Right. And see, that's what these conversations are all about because people think, okay, when they're going through things, they're depressed and they're going through and they're like, oh, and they look at someone like I said, you with your degree and everything, or they look at someone else on, with their accolades and different things. They're like, oh, they're not going through this, or they couldn't go through this. They never went through nothing like that. And that's the whole reason that I wanted to start this type of dialogue and these type of shows to come on here and show people that you don't know what someone else is going through or they haven't been through. And like you said, you had all this stuff going on, but you still had those low moments. I've had my low moments. A couple years ago when I moved back home from Greenville, I wrote it in my book, Rose Wrapped in Thorns. It's in there, and I put it all out there. And like you said, unpacking, putting it on when I put it on paper,
Mhm.
that was me unpacking. That was my healing. Everybody was like, "Oh, you putting your business all out on the street." Even my family had to process me putting it all out there. And I was like, "This is something that I have to do for
Mhm.
me. It's something I have to do for myself. I don't want
Right.
to end up like my mom, for instance. She's been through a lot from like she tells me stories even now of stuff that happened that I never
Mhm.
even heard of that she went through and that she's still, harboring over, that she's still having sad moments about, that she's still healing from, because she held it all in. She still
Right.
has not dealt with it. I don't want to be that person. So yes, I have so many
Right.
other books to write in me because you have to like, yes, I write my poetry and that's another healing form. But now as I see from writing a rose Reverend Thorn, I have seen now sometimes you gotta really write it out. Like you can't I say when I write poetry, I hide behind poetry Because poetry, it's like a
Okay.
metaphor. You're not telling exactly
Yes.
what happened, what it is. But
Right.
I said when I wrote
Right.
A Rose Wrapped in Thorns, I had to actually write it out, or exactly what happened, what I went through, what I did wrong too, and everything,
Mhm.
and put it out there. And that's how God told me to write it. I wrote it. But it was healing for me. It was therapeutic for me. And the more I even talk about the story, it's therapeutic for me because you have to process those things. And that's where I go from there. So now I
Absolutely.
would love to hear, or you can go ahead and say something. Go ahead.
Great to put me down a whole nother rabbit hole. Go ahead.
That's why I say,
But
go ahead, go ahead,
as you're
go ahead. We
talking,
got
I
time.
got
We got time
so many,
today.
yeah, so many thoughts are coming in my mind, but I'm
We
trying
got
not to.
time today.
I'm trying good. I'm trying not to get into the rabbit hole. But one of the things that I was thinking about when I hear you talk about your mom is it made me think about my mom, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I share a lot about my mom in my story because her we carry we carry what's been put in us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that my mom said to me as I started sharing more, I'm involved in this project called Restoring Indignity, and we did a play from stigma to compassion. And last year, well, earlier this year, we actually recorded, and it's going to be a documentary when the project is finished. And the person who was the visionary for that project, Iyabo Onnie, she's with Compassion in Atlanta. She said she had the idea to do a recorded documentary because she didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to re-traumatize us every time we told a story in a play, right?
Wow.
But what I told Iyabo was every time I tell my truth, it releases me. Every time
Mm-hmm.
I unearth something that's been buried in me, it heals me. So
Right.
I don't mind speaking out loud about anything that I've ever gone through because to
Mm-hmm.
not speak it lives in me. And I don't have to speak it and tell you. Like I tell
Right.
anybody. I do a lot of one-on-one sessions, release coaching. I've been doing it for a while. I'm getting ready to
Okay.
do it more organized. So that's what I would need
Right.
an assistance with to set that up.
Right.
But one of the things that I tell anybody that I coach is the work is for you.
Right.
When it comes to speaking your truth, the first person you have to speak it to is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Before I could write about it, before I can talk about it, before I can tell about it, I have to own it within myself.
You
And
got
and my mom's generation, probably your mother's generation back, that was taboo. That
right.
wasn't what you do. You can't talk about it. My
Mm-hmm.
mom talks about some of the things she went through, and she said nobody ever asked her, right? Nobody probably didn't
Mm-hmm.
ask me either, but I started talking
Right.
about it, and so now my children and my grandchildren, my great grandchildren, the generations that come after me, they will
Mm-hmm.
feel liberated in their truth because I found liberation in my truth. If I
Right.
had never found liberation in my truth, I couldn't create that pathway for them. So I am
Mm-hmm.
grateful that I've created a pathway for the truth because now everyone that comes after me can follow that path, not my path, but just the
Right.
path that it's okay to tell the truth. If my son say that he's upset because of this and that, then he has the right to speak his truth out loud. And it's that same son that told me I wasn't going to need a charger because I had plenty of time. Hold on a second, Deb. I got to get a charger. I'm going to
Sure.
go
Go
mute
ahead.
for a minute.
Go ahead. We'll pause for a second, you all, and I see your comments in the you all comments. So thank you all, Deidre, Tashika, and Paula and Donna. Thank you all for being on here with us. I really do appreciate you all for tuning in with us. And yes, Paula, that truth is something else. But excuse me, Donna, it is, and it's very healing, Paula. It is. Thank you so much, and I'm glad you're here, Samantha and Deidre. And Tashika, yes, those degrees, excuse me, yes, you can value it, but no, it doesn't define you. Exactly. That is true. That is true.
It
And you have
doesn't. I
your
think I'm
charger
good.
now. Okay.
Well,
Yes. Okay.
he's bringing it. He told me, he said, Mama, you got a full charge. You ain't gonna talk that long. If you talk that long, you need to get off. But I'm just warming up now. But you know what, Deb?
Right.
It feels
Mhm.
so when I tell you walking my truth, living my truth, sharing my
Mm-hmm.
truth, being asked to
Right.
come on podcasts such as this to tell my
Mm-hmm.
truth. I see Donna Perry. I did
Yes.
I did a podcast with her and her husband, Young People Nation.
Okay. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Plug that charger in. Come on now. Let her plug that. She'll be right back. You guys, stay tuned. Stay tuned. She's coming right back. She will be right back. You all stay tuned. So yes, I'm gonna have to catch that. I'm gonna have to catch her on. I remember she shared. I'm gonna have to catch. I'll have to go back and watch it. If you can, Donna, post the link in here so that I'll have the visual. If you can post the link in here, but if not, I think, are you on YouTube? Let me know so I can make sure that I pay it. Can go back and watch it. Because I do remember something about her posting it a while ago that she was on your show. So yeah, definitely go back and watch it. I mean, excuse me, definitely go back and post it. Okay, she'll be back with us shortly, you guys. But yes, this is a wonderful show. Like I said, we are in for the long haul. You know, this is a good conversation going on, and that's what these conversations are all about. Conversations that heal. This is just something that God laid on my heart, and she is back. Let me bring her back to the stage. There she is. She
girl,
is
I'm
back.
back. I didn't get plugged in time.
I told her, I said, oh, you got to plug that charge in.
I had to get the charge up. Let me tell you something. If that's not metaphorical, if I was writing poetry right now, you talked about you hide behind the poetry and the metaphors, but that is a metaphor for life. Is that we can't continue to go without getting charged. And I
That's
gotta
true.
I gotta share a message. I won't call them out, but one of the people whose names you just acknowledged that's watching this live show reached out yesterday, and they basically just said, I see you're doing a lot, but they didn't say don't forget to charge up. But the message was that you can't pour out for everybody and not restore your own self and your own soul and your own family. And
Right.
just like that laptop just died, it had used all it had. That happens to us too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
part of our truth needs to be that we deserve rest. We
Right.
deserve restoration. We
Yes, we
deserve the
do.
same peace that we would wish for anybody else. You
Right.
know, I,
Exactly.
I told you, I feel like I'm completing a cycle. This next
Mm-hmm.
cycle of life, or wherever I am in this embrace journey, I feel like it's going to be room for a lot of rest.
Right.
And I'm so glad. I'm so glad I get to rest.
Yeah, that rest is important. It is.
Mhm.
And even with physical rest, like the day when I came back home from church, I was telling Tashika, I said, girl, as I came back home and I said, we went, ran a couple errands, went to the store and got something to eat. As I came home, I talked to my mom for a few minutes in her room. And I said, I came around here and I ate and I took a nap. I
I,
said, I don't take naps that often. I said, I took a nap because I'm always doing something. Like I said, with the business, I'm always doing something on the computer or something with my grandkids, because we're all here in the house together. I said, I'm
mhm.
always doing something. I said, I took a nap. I said, I know. I said,
I
because I'm
took
going
a
to be
nap
alert for
too.
this show. I said, I'm going to be ready. I'm ready for this conversation. I said, I'm
Yeah.
going to take a nap and be ready. I said,
That's
I
good.
did.
I
I
took a nap
did.
outside. I love sitting in my car. So when we got home from church today, I
Mm-hmm.
reclined the seat. I was actually on the passenger side, and I reclined. I probably slept in my car for probably about 45 minutes.
Oh,
And
what?
my daughter was home but I wish I had a hammock. I'm gonna have to get a hammock because I love being
Mm-hmm.
outside and I love for the sun. Even when it's hot, I love for the sun to beam
Yeah.
down on me. So
Okay.
I took a good nap too. So I wanted to
Okay.
be
That's
revived
good.
and refreshed.
Right. Exactly. I was like, I want to be well rested, just be like you said, be renewed, just be restored because we have to take care of our physical bodies before we can take care of everyone else as well. Because even as
Right.
mothers, as wives, as just people in general, because like you're not just taking care of yourself, no matter who you are. You're seeing about somebody else in this world, whether you're a customer service, whether you're helping somebody at the store or whoever, you see it about somebody. So you got to take
Absolutely.
care of yourself first, you know. And I'm a nurturer. I'm a nurturer. I'm a giver. That's just my heart and nature. So I'm always doing for. So that's just I don't know how to be anything else.
Right.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
learning to care for myself more now,
Mhm.
and I won't say more in a selfish way, but I'm learning to take care of myself more, to put me first in a healthy way. But you have to give that time to yourself. You have to, yeah, like Samantha says, observe your
Observe
container,
your
right?
container.
I'm learning to observe my container. I'm learning to say, okay, no, I can't do that right now, or no, I can't do that for you. You know, no, I need it's time for me. You know, I need to rest for me, because you have
Right.
to. You're right, and it's not selfish. You have
It's
you
not.
Right. It's not selfish. You can't pour from an empty cup.
But you know what? Even if it is selfish, I think that we have to redefine how we look at that word, because selfish
Mm-hmm.
has such a negative connotation. And so I no
Yeah.
longer say that I'm not selfish. I am very
Mm-hmm.
selfish.
I never looked at
I
it
am
that way.
very selfish. I'm selfish out loud. I'm selfish. Um, I am, but it's
You're
nothing wrong
right.
with that. Because if I
Right.
don't make sure that myself is taken care of, then I don't I how can I be expected to give to anybody else? So I think that I
Mm-hmm.
just redefined the word selfish and took the negative connotation away from it. I'm
Right.
very selfish. You
Right.
know,
And
yeah. I
you're
want to
right.
be I want
We
to
should
be
take that
myself.
off of it. We
Yeah. I
should.
think
You're right.
we
And
need to redefine how we think about selfish. Because even when you were
right.
saying earlier, I had to check myself and say she not we're not in no release session, because I was thinking about how you said something when you said selfish, like I felt the negative energy relate with that, but no,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be. Let me tell you something. If
Right.
I don't make sure that I'm good,
Right.
I should not expect anybody else to know how to help me be good. You know, like
Right.
that's my
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to know
Mm-hmm.
what I need to be well, what I need to be full, what I need to be taken care of, what I need to be nurtured. I need to know those things
Right.
and be willing to get myself those things or give myself those things
Mm-hmm.
selfishly. That's what I believe.
Right. You're right.
That's just what I believe. You know,
You're
like
right.
I'm not putting myself last.
Right.
I'm not.
Exactly.
I'm not putting myself last, Deidre. I'm glad you hear this.
Right.
Just like on a plane, they tell you to put on your own oxygen mask first. If you're trying to mask up everybody else, you're out of
Exactly.
oxygen. So
Exactly.
it's mandatory for me to be
Mhm.
selfish.
Right.
It's a necessity for me to be
Mhm.
selfish, because that's the only way my family's going to be taken care of if I'm taken care of, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I look at selfish different. Like, but that's
Right.
another one of those generational things. We were
Mhm.
conditioned to believe that we had to take care of everybody else first. We were conditioned
Right.
to believe that everything you do is for everybody else.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
and I never understood that stuff. You know, I never
Mhm.
understood why I gotta pretend that I'm this way so that they feel okay. But what about
Mhm.
me?
Right.
You
And
know, what
see,
about me?
right. And see,
So
I did just the opposite. I did the pretending. I did the pretending. I made sure everybody else was okay, even from childhood. I did the pretending. I made sure mama was okay. I made sure everybody else was happy. I made sure this, that, and the other, and forgot about little Deborah, you know. And I grew up that way. And like now I was taken care of. I had a house. I had to, we were fine. Military, moved around a lot, but we had our typical normal everybody issues or whatever.
Mhm.
But I grew up making sure everybody else was okay. So when I got married, I grew up making sure husband was okay, kids were okay, everybody was okay. And so even now, when I want to say try when I'm breaking out now, it's like, well, Mama, are you a grandma now? Well, Granny did all this, for the kids, and Granny did this, and well, I'm not the same type of grandma that Granny was. I'm this type of grandma. Like I love my grandkids, and I want to be there for them, but I'm not the same kind of full-time grandmama the granny was. We're two different people. I'm gonna be there for them. They're my grandbaby and I love them, but I'm not,
Right.
I don't grandparent the same way, as
Right.
granny did, and it's like a lot of that, like some behaviors I don't take on the same way. 'Cause I see that's not me, and I'm just not gonna change the way who I am.
Mhm.
But it's like certain behaviors I learned and I try to change them, and certain behaviors that are stuck in with me. So I don't like, again, they're in that box too. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna stay in that little box that I was
Right.
in for so long. I'm not. I'm breaking out of that box. So,
Absolutely.
like, no, I'm not gonna stay in that box. Let's see
Hmm.
what we got going on here in the
I
comments.
know I'm loving the comments. I was reading
I
the comments.
know. No, we are loving you ladies. So daughter says,
Yes.
truth, those boundaries are necessary and we are to give from the saucer of our lives. The cup is for you. Right. Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
let them give from the saucer. Exactly, Donna. I
Exactly.
like that. I like that. If not mindful, we will become bitter because exactly. And I have in the past known myself to like get burned out. Cause even from when, and I can share about this because when I moved to Greenville a few years ago, which is where Rose Rap and Storm start. But when I moved to Greenville, because it's not about the book, but when I moved to Greenville before then, it's like I was on a rat race. It was a
Okay.
few years after my divorce and everything. So I had moved into my own apartment. My son had left to go live with his father, and my girls, they had moved out. But I still was like on this rat race. I was working a lot. I was helping my daughter with my grandkids. I was almost full time. She had her own place, but it's like I was working and helping with the grandkids. Like I would get them early and go to work, drop them off my mom's house, go to work, pick them back up. So it was like it's like I was still full time. I would do, just busy, 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 busy. I needed a break. So it's like when the opportunity arrives for me to move, I'm like, okay, yeah, Lord, I've been praying. I've been wanting to move. I've been wanting to move for a few years. Actually, when I first, went through my divorce, I wanted to move out of Aiken. I just wanted to leave, get a fresh start, just start over. And I just kept putting it off. Didn't want to leave, didn't want to change my son's school. Then he went to live with his father. Just different reasons. I just kept making excuses for every. Say I couldn't leave for my parents. I couldn't leave for this. Couldn't leave for that. So when the situation arrives, I'm like, oh yeah, this is my sign. I can go ahead and move. Move to. And so I was ready to go, but it's like I was on that rat race, and I'm like, okay. And so I was ready to move, but even still, I was still glad to move and just ready for that fresh start. But it's like my cup was too full. My cup was too full, like I said, bring the conversation back, but my cup was just too full. And I was not, like I said, like she said about the salsa, I should have been like, I should have eliminated some things in my life versus running.
And you know what I hear when I hear you saying your cup too full, it sounds like it was full of stuff that wasn't their stuff.
Right.
It was everybody else's stuff. It's like when I
Right.
imagine a cup, like earlier when you was talking about you're not that type of grandmother because you're
Mhm.
not that grandmother. And so
Right.
it's almost like right, my cup is
Almost empty.
almost empty. I was about to say it's almost empty. Now my cup is empty. I was drinking white wine in my cup, right?
Right.
Had this been orange juice, that would have been a different drink, right? Had
Right.
it been Kool-Aid,
Mhm.
that would have been a different drink. So
Right.
when your cup is full, it needs to be full with your stuff. It needs to be full
Right.
with what is of you. It needs to be full with your essence. But the more of
Mhm.
everybody else stuff that comes into your cup, it can be full, but it's not your stuff. So
Right.
when I think about a full cup, I mean the fullness of my essence overflowing to the
Mhm.
saucer. But a lot of times, if everybody else stuff is in there, then that's weighty because you're carrying around stuff that don't even belong to you, and
Right.
you really can't be the best that they need you to be if you're
Mhm.
diluted. If
Right.
you're diluted, and
Right.
that's what happens. We think that we're serving in those capacities and that we're doing everything that they need from us, but it's diluted. And like Sam said earlier, she said, we may be the only example that others see. And I don't want
Mhm.
to perpetuate self sacrifice without self care because that's not living.
Right.
I don't want to perpetuate self sacrifice. And I'm sacrificial. I talk about being selfish, but I
Mhm.
care for a lot of people. I
Right.
nurture a lot of people. I show up for a lot of people. I
Right.
give to a lot of people. But guess what?
Hmm.
I
Right.
nurture myself. I care for myself, and I give to myself just as much as I give to others. And I don't make excuses for that. You know,
Hmm.
people see me on social media a lot, and it may seem like I don't take care of myself and I'm always on go, baby. Take care of myself well. And I'm moving
Right.
into a season though where I'm gonna be taking care of myself even better. So it's gonna be harder. It's gonna be harder. It's gonna be harder to I'm not gonna say it's gonna be harder to get me, but I'm gonna
Hmm.
say if I'm pouring from my saucer, then
Right.
it's only so much that's in my saucer. So some
Right.
people are not going to be able to drink from my saucer, because
Right.
I'm not going to be emptying me to pour into
Right.
the saucer so I have more of them. No, the salt.
Hmm.
Listen, the value of the saucer just went up.
Right. There you go. I like that. I
The
like
value of the saucer has been of what's in the saucer. It's been valuable, but now the ability
hmm
to get what's in the saucer,
Yeah,
the,
you
the
know.
the value went up, and and it feels good to say that because I
Hmm.
haven't always valued what has come from me. I haven't always valued,
Right. And now you know your
and I'm
worth.
so glad. I do know my worth, and I'm glad I've never been one of those people who have tried to put myself out there, to
Hmm.
promote myself in the sense of I'm Onnie and I'm this and it's gonna cost you this and this.
Right.
I've never been that kind of person, you know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
now I recognize the value of it. And all I'm saying is if individuals want and appreciate what's in my saucer, then they already
Hmm.
recognize that value and they don't mind doing whatever it takes to get those contents, and however I
Right.
pour out. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I had to learn too about myself, that, God gives us all, excuse me, different gifts and talents. And I had to learn my gifts and talents. Like, we all have a bunch of gifts and talents, but I had to learn my purpose and learn and to embrace the gifts and talents that I have. Like, I've had people to tell me, that you have this light about you. You have this,
You do.
this. I've had, and it's weird. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you're so." Even my mom would tell me, when I come into her room, you're so warm, or not even with touching me. You're so warm. You light, you heat up the room, you light up the room, or even with people just touching my hand or whatever, they can
Mhm.
feel the heat radiating off of me, but it's a good thing. And I'm like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? So I had to learn and own that and embrace it. And now I own it. And or people would use it. Sometimes people would tell me and add a negative connotation to it. Why are you always smiling all the time? Are you always laughing when you talk? Are you always smile? That's
Mhm.
my gift. That's my joy. I'm not gonna let you steal that from me. God gave
Right.
that to me a long time ago. I can even remember long time ago when he actually I can remember when that came about. I remember my first job. It was down because I grew up in Macon, Georgia. Remember, I tell you, I'm a
Okay.
Georgian too. I grew up down
Okay.
in Gibb County. When I was 16, I got my first job at Quincy's Steakhouse. And for some people that might not know Quincy's, I think it doesn't even exist anymore.
But I know Quincy's.
Quincy's, you from Georgia. So
Yes.
and I remember I worked on the line, on the serving line, and they used to tell me that I didn't smile enough. I looked mean all the time. And so I started smiling more. And from then on, I carried it. It's like I came on into myself, into my own. And I started smiling from then on. I started smiling more. And so it's like now, as when I came into my adult, my adult years and, grew up and everything, whatever, and started mingling and talking to people more. And they like, oh, why you always smiling all the time? And you laugh all the time. And you talk. That's just me. That's who I am. That's how, God designed me to be. That's a part of me, my character, my gift, my joy. That's me. Embrace it, and I embrace it now. I don't hide it. I actually, honestly, used to say, "Oh no, Quincy's, yeah, those roles." I got my pictures, but I even used to like shy away from smiling. I had got to one point where I didn't like to smile because of my teeth, like the way
Okay.
my teeth are made, and I was like, I never ended up getting braces. But I used to hide between that. I didn't like to take pictures. I would, just really just shy away. And I was like, now I embrace it. I don't hide between my laughs and my smile and my laugh when I talk. That's me, and that's what you're gonna get from me. If you don't like it, then you're not meant to be around me. You're not meant to
Yeah.
hear what I have to say. You're not meant to embrace or your energy is not meant to be around my energy. We're not meant to intertwine with one another. So,
You
and
know
that's
what I say is that I'm no longer making adjustments. You know, whatever
right.
I do, if a person is not comfortable, then they can make the adjustment. And on
Right.
the flip side of that, I never mind making adjustments. At one point,
Mm-hmm.
I kept making statements. You know, I adjust as necessary or readjust as necessary, because I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
people no one is ever in my way, and that doesn't necessarily relate like directly to what you're saying, but it does, because
Mm-hmm.
I used to be the person that say, well, you know, this is just me. And, you know, I do smile all the time. And there have been people
Right.
who ask me, you know, why I smile all the time. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Why not?
let me tell you something. My friend Deidre, she always say that I cuss people out so good and I don't say nothing. I be like, no, that don't even. Let me tell you something. There is so much stuff that I don't even comment on. I don't even
Right.
entertain. Like
Not
that.
worth it.
It's not worth it, because people speak from their core, and
Right.
whatever comes out of them is what comes out of them, and it don't really have anything to do with me. And once I
Right.
recognize that, then look at you like you crazy.
Right. Exactly. Like, you're not gonna steal my joy, like
Yeah.
you upset about something or whatever, like you go ahead with that and you keep that to yourself. Like, you're not gonna influence
Mhm.
my joy, you're not gonna change my joy into sorrow or whatever, you go ahead
Exactly.
about your business. Like, no, mm-mm. Like, we good over here. Like, no. So, like, I go on about my
Exactly.
business. I go on about my business. Let's see what she said. She Quincy stuff talking about Quincy's in there, but yeah. So I just, like I said, I just go about my life, and I, like sometimes every now and then, sometimes it'll come up to my thought. Okay, well, how are they gonna think about this, or how are they gonna think about that? But the more that I'm on my journey now, I don't. The less I think about those types of things now. Uh-oh. Did she say she'll be right back, y'all? I missed that. I think she said she'll be right. Okay. 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 I thought you said you'll be right back. Okay.
Am I here?
Yes, you here. I was like, did she say she'll be right back?
I don't know what happened.
Okay. And I'm like, now come on now. We in a good conversation now.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Right. But let's see. So she could say everything don't need a reaction. She's thankful God is working in and through her. Right. Everything don't need a reaction.
It
Exactly.
doesn't require reaction. You know, I
No.
feel like reactions keep the fire burning. You know, there it's like
Right.
if somebody has created a fire and they want
Mhm.
that fire to keep burning, then they keep
Right.
adding to that. If I want the fire to
Exactly.
burn out, then I'm not gonna add to that. And there's
Right.
plenty of fires that I'll let die down, or I don't give energy to, because
Mhm.
it's just not worth it. You know, I'm quick to say, not my monkey, not my circus. You
Right.
know, because
Exactly.
I don't have time to entertain a lot of foolery. I
Right.
just don't. I'd rather be watching the ducks or watching the
Mhm.
birds. I
Right.
love sitting and looking, because I have so many thoughts in my own mind that I ain't
Mhm.
got time to be explaining to people why I smile all the time. You know?
Right. Exactly. Like, who wants to be looking around, walking around and being negative all the time? Like, if
Right.
you're not
There's a
smiling,
lot
then
of
you
people.
frowning.
Right.
Like, so
And
I
you know what?
mean,
I just think those people who are walking around being negative all the time, they don't want to be. I really don't think
right.
they want to be.
Yeah.
I really don't. And because I don't think they want to be, then I can have a little bit more compassion for them. But my
Mhm.
compassion comes in not saying things sometimes, or giving them a look,
Yeah.
because I guarantee you it's going to make them think. Because if they get a
Mhm.
rise out of everybody else, but they don't get a rise out of you, then
Right.
whether what you're teaching is direct or indirect, is still teaching.
Exactly, exactly. Just
You
continue
know,
smiling at them,
so
and eventually it's
that's how
gonna
I
rub
feel.
off on them, or it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna teach them something. So either way, they're gonna get some type of lesson, and that's how I see it
Hmm.
too. I'm not gonna change who I am
Exactly.
or what I do just because they didn't like, especially something as simple as a smile. Like that's a blessing. Like I remember,
Right.
um, I can't remember the name of the show, the doctor show where the young the boy with autism. I can't remember. I used to love that show because my son has autism. But the boy who had autism is the doctor. I think they finally
I
took it off.
I
Uh,
cannot. I know the show you're talking about.
Yeah, I used to watch it because my son is on the spectrum, and I used to
Okay.
when that show came out, and I used to watch it all the time. But I remember there was an episode where a young lady come in there and she could not smile, and they had to do a
Mm-hmm.
surgery on her jaw to be able to allow her to smile. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
some people take that for granted.
The
Yeah, the
Good
good doctor.
Doctor.
Thank you, Deidre. Thank you, Deidre. The good
Oh, I
doctor.
was looking it
Yes.
up too.
Yeah, she was. I know
The
her
Good
son. Yeah, I
Doctor.
know her son. We got that in common. Yes, but like, yeah, and I was like, I still remember that episode. I was like, wow, just some people take so many things, little things people take for granted. Like she could
Mm-hmm.
not smile. Like she would be happy about stuff or want to laugh and everything, and she couldn't for whatever reason. I forgot what the issue that she had with her mouth, but she could not smile. And when they did that and gave her the surgery, she was able to smile. And just
Mm-hmm.
the little things that people take for granted, don't think about, but then you want to walk around and say people smiling too much. So pick your battles, pick things that why would that's something that you shouldn't be walking around saying, oh, people smile too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not something that you should be sitting there and being negative about and coming down on somebody about because they smile too much. That's the last thing you should be coming down on somebody about because they smile too much. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, like I just don't see that as being something like no.
Right.
I just do not. Like,
That
come
she
on,
show
people.
all her teeth.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So
I
like,
just think that's so insignificant. Like
right.
it shows it shows where they are. And some people
Hmm.
are insignificant. But I can have compassion for them too. And like I say, I just look
Hmm.
and go on
Right,
about my business.
exactly. Like obviously, they have a lot of pain and sadness in their life that for them to not want to see you smile, they
Mm,
don't want to see you smile. So, like you said, you got to have compassion for them, pray for
right.
them, because they need something. They need that compassion and prayer.
Exactly.
They need something. So,
Yeah.
but tell us about your trip to was it the botanical gardens?
No, it wasn't
Or
the
was it?
botanical garden. Was
Oh,
it at the butterfly garden when I was at
yeah, the
Callaway
butterfly
Gardens?
garden. Yes, I saw those pictures. I was like, oh my God.
That was so beautiful. Sam is watching. She was my gateway there. I went to Callaway Gardens. I think
Yeah,
it's in
Callaway
Pine
Garden. That's
Mountain,
right.
Georgia. I went on 3
Mhm.
trips back to back. I went to Callaway Gardens, then I came and went to Indianapolis, Indiana, and then I came
Okay.
and I was just in Stone Mountain at Evergreen Resort.
Okay.
But the trip to Callaway Gardens and me going to that butterfly exhibit, it was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful
Mhm.
experience. I love being in nature. I love seeing
Mhm.
God's creation, and I love just being able to have some self-care and be still, and a part of my self-care is being around other people and learning from other
Right.
people. That is
Mhm.
self-care for me. I'll tell people all the time on you like in looking at the domains of wellness, a lot of times we focus on mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. But one of my
Mhm.
highest domains of wellness that I need to tap into is intellectual wellness. Because
Mhm.
I'm an intellect,
Right.
I
Mhm.
love thinking and thoughts
And
um
learning.
and and everything related to that. So being able to go to something like a butterfly garden and seeing God's nature at work. And what I loved
Mhm.
about the butterfly garden exhibit at Callaway Gardens is when they showed the different phases of the butterfly, right? And the
Okay.
chrysalis
Mhm.
stage and all of that stuff.
Right.
It's so it's not just metaphorical to life, but it's
Right.
actual. If I could study the
Mhm.
phases of a butterfly metamorphosing
Mhm.
and growing into a new creature, the
Right.
whole genetic makeup, like the whole makeup changes in that
Right.
metamorphosis. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Right.
that
I've
is
seen the
so
pictures of, yeah.
yeah, that's so profound to me, girl. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, when I was there and when I've been on every trip, I literally have just been singing of the goodness of God. You know, that's how I love you,
Mm-hmm.
Lord, and your
Right.
mercy
Yes,
never
yes,
fail me.
yes.
Lord, have mercy,
Yes.
because I have been able to do some amazing things and have some amazing experiences that I. It's not that I didn't think that I could have, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. I just had to continue walking the path to get here, and that's what
Right.
I'll say people to people. There's so many people stuck in what shoulda,
Mm-hmm.
coulda, woulda. They're stuck because life isn't going for them as they think it ought to go for them. But I've never
Mm-hmm.
had an oughta. You know, we
Right.
talked earlier about my path of purpose. If I believe that my path is purposed, then I
Mm-hmm.
also believe that I can't know what the path is.
Right.
Because when I read the Bible, it says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So if he's gonna
Yeah.
direct my path, that means that I can't know the path before I get to the path, because if I knew
Right.
the path, I'm following my direction. And I know you talked to me, you asked
Right.
me to tell you about the butterfly garden. I don't went to quote
No, you could
scripture,
keep on.
but that's how I feel. I believe that
Mm-hmm.
the path that we are to travel is already sanctified and set apart for us. And we just
Right.
have to follow the light, follow the vision, follow the plan. I follow where God leads. And the
Right.
more that I evolve, the more that I
Mm-hmm.
grow into myself, the more that
Right.
I metamorphosis. You know, I may
Mm-hmm.
not
Right.
terminology right now, but the more that
Right.
I grow into the Onnie that God designed me to be, then the
Mm-hmm.
more full and rich my life can be. And when I can see those, when I can see that at a butterfly garden, then I
Right.
know that I can see that in me as well. So experiences like
Mm-hmm.
that are so meaningful and profound to me. I always get make time to be outside as much as I
Right.
can wherever I am. Even when I was in Indianapolis, beautiful location that we were at, and
Mm-hmm.
they had a lake around the hotel that I was at as well. So I was
Okay.
able to go and be out in nature there, you know, be out at the water and see a lot of beautiful things. Even at Stone
Mhm.
Mountain, a
Right.
few days ago, you know, still in nature again. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really grateful that I'm able to see life's lessons
Right.
in Mother Nature, because Mother Nature is one of my most beautiful teachers. I would
Right.
sit with Mother Nature all day long and just say, what do you have for me today? Because a lot
Right.
of people don't do that. A lot of people want to follow, like, think that all of our learning is in what's trending.
Right. And it's
that ain't
not.
that ain't where it's at for me. You
Mm-mm, it's
know,
not.
like I'm not trying to be. I may be an influencer, but
Right.
I'm not studying how to be an influencer to become an influencer. But if my life can influence others just by me living my truth and seeking to become all that God has created me to be, then
Right.
that's profound to me. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
touching lives by getting online talking about I'm messed up and this happened and that happened, and you know, I feel like this, baby. Can I get some else to drink, please? You know, but if I
Right.
that's so beautiful to me.
Right.
I feel
Yes.
like a beautiful butterfly that has really just now acknowledge my wings, and now I'm ready to fly. I'm ready
Yes.
to just perch on doorsteps and drop in people's lives and bring a little
Right.
light, like when you see a butterfly. I want to be like that, you know.
Right, right. When butterfly just lights on your porch or lights, just
Yeah,
you see like a little stoop, there go a butterfly, like, oh, look at that butterfly. Like, look at
exactly,
that little
exactly.
Oni. Right,
Exactly. That's me, y'all. If you
right.
see next time you see a butterfly, you know,
I'm gonna
just
think
think
about them like
about
that Oni right there.
yes, yes, yes.
Right,
Even if
right.
even if it's not, it'll make you smile and it'll make you think. And that's how we
Mm-hmm.
spread joy and love.
Right.
Like something
Exactly.
something as insignificant as
Mm-hmm.
seemingly insignificant as words are, they are some of the
Right.
most significant tools that we have to revolutionize the world.
Right.
I talk a lot about being the voice, and
Mm-hmm.
there many years of my life I had something to say and I didn't say it out loud. And there's now I don't speak out
Mm-hmm.
loud everything that I think, but
Right.
when the atmosphere is set for that, then I do. Because
Right.
like Mama Perry says, you never know who is listening and the lives that you encourage. And the more that
Right.
we present with our truth, our
Mm-hmm.
authentic selves, our
Exactly.
unadulterated selves, and for me, unapologetic. Because
Right.
I tell
Exactly.
my story. I speak from
Yeah.
my core. I
Right.
don't get on live or online or wherever telling about anybody else's story.
Right.
You rarely will catch me talking about anybody else. Now I don't have to talk about myself all day either, you
Right.
know,
Right.
but I can
Mm-hmm.
talk about myself if the atmosphere or the platform presents itself for that. And I
Right.
hope that it is encouraging.
Right.
Yeah.
And you are very encouraging. And like you were
Thank
saying, like when you start off talking about, like I said, we're talking about the butterfly gardens, but it was more than just going to the butterfly gardens. It was so much more than just that. And you described it perfectly. All the things that it encompassed,
you.
that
Right.
it took, the ways that it touched you. So yeah, you answered the question beautifully, because
Thank you.
it was
I get
not a
off track
loaded
and don't
question.
answer a question in a minute, girl. You have to bring me back around to the question.
No, that's why I let you speak, because it wasn't, even though it wasn't a loaded question, but it was a loaded answer, but it needed to be answered. That you answered it perfectly, because I want a
Good,
true, authentic answer. I don't want some shaved off, cookie cutter answer. I don't want that. I
good,
wanted your truth, and you
good. Because
gave me your truth.
I don't know how to give a shaved off answer.
Right. I
I
wanted your
will.
truth. And that's what that, like, you went there. I don't know if you went there for the business side or for work or whatever, or training, I think. But
Yeah.
you went there
And
for
all
one
that's running
reason.
together for me. All that's running together for
Right. It's
me for
all
this
coming
morning.
together.
Like,
You went there for one reason, but everything else, it encompassed. You went there for one reason, but it encompassed so much more to you,
yes.
and that just goes to show how life is, or how God is. Even like you doing one thing, but he got a whole nother plan in place for it, like, oh wow, really? Like this, I can do
That's
this.
how I've been. I have literally
Mhm.
been like that lately. Like I get to come here and do this and just
Mhm.
be, and like that is what you would have me to do right now. Like, okay, God, send me,
Right.
I'll go. Let me tell y'all, if you listening, don't say stuff like send me, I'll go if you don't want to go. Don't tell God to use you as a vessel if you don't want him to use you as a vessel, because
Right.
I literally
Exactly.
have said, God, whatever you want me to say, I'll say it.
Hmm.
Wherever you want me to go, I'll go.
Right.
And I didn't know
Exactly.
what I was getting myself into. But I won't take those words back. I won't take
Right.
them back. I really, really,
Right.
really, truly know. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And like you were saying, how, allow him to, he directs our path. He knows our purpose. We don't know it. So we're just fine. Like I tell everybody, I was speaking on Clubhouse this morning, like, he directs my path. I allow him to direct my path. I don't direct it, so I go where he leads me to do. So
Right.
like with this, for instance, I started with the show for authors, and then I've been trying to actually get Conversation to Heal show going on for a while now,
Oh
but it wasn't
wow.
the right. Yes, it just wasn't. But I would put out, if anybody wants to come on the show, but it wasn't the right time, and I had to see that it wasn't the right time. So, and then now it is, like I said, me and you having our Facebook conversations, and it was just the right time. I was like, oh, we got to get on here and have a conversation, and we wasn't. We didn't
That
pick a
is so
topic, did we?
awesome.
We didn't pick a topic or anything, did we? It just was a natural
I'm
flow.
glad, because
Right.
I would have been like, oh gosh, I gotta prepare. I love being in
Hmm.
the flow. I can do things when I have a topic, and I can speak on a
Right.
variety of topics. But I also love just
Right.
true, raw, genuine conversation. And because
Right.
conversation does heal.
Right, exactly.
It
And I
really
just
does. You're
like,
making me think about a sub segment. We're gonna have to do a
yes,
conversation with Hill and a collaboration because I know
yes,
quite a few people who have stories that I think would make great conversations that Hill.
right,
So I'm gonna
yes.
have to merge them with
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yes, of course, definitely. Because I even have another episode coming on the end of the month. I have another young lady coming on the show, and God just put this on my heart. Like I started with the show for authors and having them come on and sharing their story, and that's going well. And then now God, like I said, and then me and you coming on here, and we're doing this, and it's just like people need to get on here. We need these conversations are needed.
Hmm.
People need to hear these conversations. They need to be a part of these conversations for different, whether it's different age groups or different, generations, the different topics. People need to hear these conversations. They're needed, the different stories or whatever that people need to hear them for the healing. Yeah, everybody's going. You can unmute, girl. You good. But
I'm
people need
saying
to.
right, right, right. Didn't
Yeah,
even
I
know I
was
had
like, why did
muted
she mute?
myself. My
I was like,
daughter,
why did she
look,
mute?
y'all, Autumn on the phone. Look how
Okay.
fast she got out the camera. My
I was
daughter
like, why
called,
did
so
she
I
mute?
muted her. I muted
Right,
myself so I
Madonna said, "Do it the way God gives it to you." Right,
yeah.
right. She's at time dot not Deb or Dr. O, but yes, and I'm like, but yeah. So basically, I just God is doing it in His timing. Like now, I used to try to do everything in my time, and okay, God, I want to do this, I want to do that. Da, 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 this what I'm gonna do. This what I'm gonna do. Especially like I said with being, I've had several, businesses I've done through the years, try to do, but this is what I now like on this path that I'm on now, this journey. God, you lead the way, and I
I'm
follow.
telling you, God has
Yes.
shown me these past 6, 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally been fast motion. And
Mm-hmm.
I literally just had to say, okay, God, I totally release. And I'm sitting in
Mm-hmm.
front of my release mantra that I wrote, and I got it on my wall. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a broken chain and the birds emerging. And
Mm-hmm.
in this release mantra, I talk about that I've carried the weight of my emotional baggage for so long, and I'm tired of hurting. I'm tired of crying. My mind deserves it. My
Mm-hmm.
body deserves it. All of this stuff that I'm ready for my release to take place. But what God is showing me is that I even had to release potentiality. I had to release what I
Mm-hmm.
was holding on to, the possibility of what could happen, because that was
Mm-hmm.
preventing me from being present fully with each day. And
Right.
this last drop of the roller coaster that I've been on the past 6, 8, 9 months, it's been so fast. I haven't had time to put anything together in terms of
Mm-hmm.
business or anything. But the beauty in all of that is I look at what I have accomplished.
Right.
I look at what I have accomplished over the last year when I decided that I wasn't well enough to go back to work. Well, first, when I
Right.
wasn't well enough to go to work, before I knew I wasn't going to go back, before I knew that they was
Right.
going to tell me while I was on FMLA that my time
Right.
was up. Like that hit
Mm.
me like, oh my gosh,
Right.
what am I gonna do? Like I've been working
Right.
all these years, like financially, what I'm gonna do, all of this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But I had a conversation with my son just today, and I said, have you been able to tell that I really haven't worked in all
Right.
this time? Like I do stuff, and I
Right.
I thank God for a gift that can bring revenue, even when I haven't tried to use it as
Right.
a revenue generating mechanism, right? And so I think
Mhm.
if I can earn revenue from my gift and I haven't even tried to market the gift, then if it's
Right.
marketed, what can I do? But God had to show me that it's okay, because for
Right.
so long I felt like it would exploit the gift. If I want to be of service to God, and I just
Right.
want God to use me and for me to show up authentically, then I had a
Mhm.
problem with associating money to that, right? Because I've seen
I
people
know.
who have who charge this, that, and the third, and they ain't even offering nothing, right? But God has shown
Right.
me over these last couple of months that He can sustain me if I just do the work that He wants me to do, right? And He had to
Mhm.
put me in fast-paced motion, so I couldn't even call nobody back to do anything. I'm running. Let me put a plug in. I'm running for. I shouldn't be putting plug in while I'm drinking my cold drink
Right,
today.
exactly.
But I am running for school board, Richmond County District 8. And once I went, I was coerced. I'm not gonna call Deidre out, who told me to come on, let's just go qualify. But the first thing I said was, God,
Hmm.
I don't know nothing about running no campaign and all of this stuff. But not only do I not know anything about that, Dale, but listen, in all sincerity, I don't want to run that kind of campaign. I don't
No.
want to invest money into telling people. Of course, people need to know who I am so they can vote for me if they don't
Right.
know me. But I don't
Right.
believe in putting together a platform and
Hmm.
promising this, and that, because I may not
Right.
make good on that. What I can
Right.
promise is that I'm going to always use my voice to uplift what is right. I can
Right.
promise that I'm going to always use my voice to be a voice for those things that need to be said. I can promise that all day, every day, no matter what room I'm in, who I'm talking to, and what I'm talking about. I can promise that I can be a voice. I can say what the people need to be said. I can have the tough conversations. I can say the things that need to be put in the atmosphere. But I can't promise you that I can plan a good fish fry and put some words together and say, vote for me for this reason or the next. I can't promise that. But I can be a voice. I am running for Richmond County School Board District 8. Vote for me at the next election if you live in that district. If you don't live in my district, vote for the candidate who will do the work that it takes in whatever race that is, in whatever platform that is. I've never been one to talk politics and all of this and that, but I have learned that there are people in elected office, there are people in elected positions who are put there on based on our vote or the lack thereof. So if you have a vote, you need to exercise your right to vote and put people in office who are going to get the work done and who have the best interest of good in mind. So I am the one and only Dale. Thank you for this platform. I just feel like this was like a whole campaign speech. Vote
You
Dr.
are
Poe for
so
education.
welcome.
I gotta start somewhere.
Yes, you do. I was busy adding it into the banner, girl. You are.
Yeah,
And if I was over on the Georgia side, I would definitely vote for you. But we are
I
definitely
know
going to
you
promote
would.
you.
I appreciate it.
You are so welcome. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I have thoroughly enjoyed this.
Have
Get back on
to.
the chat, see who said made a comment. But yes, this has yes, vote for Dr. Poe for education.
Dr.
Let's
Poe for
put it in the
education.
chat.
Samantha Valentine is
Yeah.
running as well, Super District 10. I'm gonna give her a shout out because she's on
Okay,
here
yes,
tonight.
vote for Samantha as well. Yes, yes, definitely. But yes, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. This has been a healing, and I hope that everyone who listened or those who watch it in the replay, reach out to us if you want to. You have our contact information. We're both on Facebook and everything, so just reach out. We're here. That's what this is all about, is connecting with one another. Yes, it's we're online, it's virtual, but we're all real people. We're here. We all have websites, Facebook, phone numbers. You can reach out and talk to someone, reach out and, like the old saying, reach out and touch, the old song, reach out and touch
Reach out
somebody.
and
You know
touch.
what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yes.
like we're
Y'all
real
hit me up
people.
in Messenger because I'm behind
Right.
on emails, I'm behind on texts, I'm behind on calls. But hit me up in Messenger and I'll get
Right.
it. But pretty soon I'm gonna have somebody managing all of my social media platform. I'm learning to speak out loud what I think will help me be more accessible without causing me to get out of my
Right.
own flow. So pretty soon I will have a
Mhm.
dedicated website where you can reach me and book me and bring me to your spaces for conversation and dialogue, because this is what I
Yeah.
love to do.
Yes, definitely. And we also will have Dr. Poe at the Our Words Matter Black Author Book Expo that will be coming here in Aiken, South Carolina. The Our Words Matter Black Author Book Expo and Fall Fest is going to be held Saturday, October the 12th from 11 to 4 p.m. at the Citizens Park Office and Conference Center here in Aiken, South Carolina at 640 Old Airport Road. Again, it's here in Aiken, South Carolina. We're on the other side of Augusta, but we're about 35 minutes, so it's not
It's
far for
not
you.
far.
Exactly, not too far. So we're between Augusta and Columbia, South Carolina, but we're closer to Augusta. So yeah, come on out and support. It's gonna have a lot of authors, a lot of us from CSRA here. Tashika Wright, she's also one of the authors in the comments. She's gonna be one of the authors here as well. Come
Awesome.
out and support her as well. But and we have several authors here from the CSRA. We have one from Florence, South Carolina. So we have authors coming from all over. So come out and support. For those who are watching. And again, we thank you all so much for coming on here with us and for participating in the conversation. And like I said, this is something that God laid on my heart to start doing, and He's making it happen. He's making it work, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Awesome.
And so just can stay tuned for more. We have another episode coming on the 29th with another young lady. I'll be sending out the notifications soon. And I'm just going to put my website in the comments because I don't want to take down the banner. If you could sign up for the emails so that you won't miss anything. So you can go on there and sign up for the website, sign up for the newsletter rather, so you can stay up to date on the people that are going to be coming on the show. Then we also have one for authors, and then of course this show, Conversations That Heal. So definitely stay tuned, and it's all about just sharing your story, conversations that heal, and just helping each other on this journey called life. I always say that I'm on this journey right now, this healing journey, and healing through life, and we're all on this walk. Either everybody's at a different place in their journey, and we're all going through things, but we all need somebody. So that's why this platform is here for you. So just stay tuned for more, and just continue to just support, and I will be here for you, and she's here for you. So just reach out, and we thank you guys so much for watching, and you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and you can
Can
hang
I
around
say
for
some final words before we get off?
sure.
I
Yes,
just got
sure,
one last thing that I want to say. I want to say
sure.
that when I hear journey, I used to think that we started several journeys in life. But what I
Mm-hmm.
believe now is we only get one journey. From the time we're born to the time we die, we have a
Mm-hmm.
journey. It is a single
Right.
journey. Throughout
Mm-hmm.
that journey, there are certain phases of it that we find ourselves in, and our awareness of where we are in the journey changes, right? What I
Mm-hmm.
can say right now at this phase in my journey, if I had any advice to give to anybody about the journey, that would
Yeah.
be one word, and that word is embrace.
Yeah.
Embrace the journey. Wherever you
Mm-hmm.
find yourself along your journey, embrace it for all that it is, because where you are is where you're meant to be, but you're not supposed to stay there. That journey is continuous. So as you continue your journey, I wish you all love, life, healing,
Yes.
wholeness, completeness, and I wish you wealth, not financial wealth, but just overall wealth in living
Mm-hmm.
in the fullness of you as God created you to be. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Deb, thank you for this time and this opportunity to speak with you tonight. And to all of you that listen, thank you. And I wish you life, love, and strength.
You are so welcome. I have to again thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you, and I look forward to hearing more from you. And like I said, we're going to do this again sometime soon. We can catch you and get you in
Definitely.
your schedule. But yeah,
Definitely.
okay. Well, you have a wonderful night.
You
All
too,
right.
darling. Take
All right.
care.
And good night, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate
Good
you.
night.
All right. Good night.